do quarterbacks. So we're doing top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. Some of us have more, and I've got like an honorable mention. But unfortunately, Sage suffers from a condition known as premature information sharing. So Sage texted us last night his group of 5 quarterbacks. So Sage, why don't you go ahead and put your 5 up there for us in your order.
All right.
So go for it.
Number 1, I'm not going to get cute as much as I want to, as much as he's probably got 3 MVPs. I'm going to go with Pat Mahomes at number 1 because I'm not going to go with Lamar, even though...
Okay, sure.
He is.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Lamar at number 2.
Yep.
Because, why wouldn't I?
Because, come on.
Why wouldn't I? Number 3, Josh Allen. Obviously.
Yep.
Obviously.
That one tracks.
Number 4, you got to go with the guy that probably should be in the MVP conversation even more than he is right now. I know he's a finalist right now, but hey, if he had half of a defense, he'd probably win it. And that's going to be Joe Burrow.
Joey Burr.
Right there. And number 5, I don't only prematurely show information.
Sure.
I prematurely jump on bandwagons.
Prematurely crowned quarterbacks.
And that my premature crown of a quarterback this year is Jaden
JD5
Daniels.
Okay. All right. So let's talk Sage's top 5 before we move on here. Hard to argue with a lot of it, honestly. The only one that you really want to argue is Jaden Daniels. That's the one where it's like, okay, we did this 2 years ago with Trevor Lawrence, where we're like, yep, Trevor Lawrence is a top 5 guy coming off of a good year.
Never believed that.
And he was not very good. And then this past year, we were all like, CJ Stroud, he's here, top 5. Not going to see him on any of our lists, if I had to guess. Jaden Daniels had a good season. I actually have his numbers written down. I mean, 3,600 passing yards, about 900 rushing yards, 31 total touchdowns, 9 turnovers, 2 playoff wins. It's hard to put him up there just because it's 1 year.
Yeah.
I get it. I love it. I think that's like, Sage just swung a single. You just that was a team swing. Just take the hit, take the base hit. This is what most people are going to have. Just get on base for the big hitters.
Well, here's the thing. You don't want to be late on these kind of things.
No, you don't.
You know, you want to jump on it early. I want to say, hey, I saw his rookie year. I knew he was going to be something.
He was going to be great.
Sometimes you take strikes.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you don't even get the single.
No.
But I'm going to steal some bases with this right here.
That's right. You got the speed.
Jaden Daniels,
that's a base hit.
He's going to be the guy to take those bases and take it all the way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Addison, any thoughts on Sage's top 5?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. Very similar players. I mean, the top 4 quarterbacks, I think, the order obviously will be a little bit different, but I think that'll probably be the same for most people when it comes down to a quarterback list. So I like that. I think Daniels, you pretty much said it. It's just maybe a little premature. We saw it last year with Stroud. The person that beat him is only going to his 2nd Super Bowl.
Right.
3
Jalen
seasons.
Hurts is a reasonable one to have up there.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yep. Colin, thoughts on Jaden Daniels being up there? And other positions
so
too.
As Addison said, it's hard to argue with the top 4. I think we're all going to have that top 4 in our top 4. Jaden Daniels, it makes sense because that 5th spot, you can argue, like as Addison said before we started recording, you can argue 4 or 5 guys for that number 5 spot. And so I don't hate it. You talk about what Washington's roster looked like this year around Jaden Daniels and what he was able to do to propel them to an NFC Championship game. Something I've never seen my team do. So I don't hate that at all. I do think maybe it's a little premature because I like to see
it again.
1 or 2 years.
We got some tape on
but
that.
I don't hate it at all. I think he deserves to be in that conversation.
Like I said, I had him as like if I was doing a longer list, Jaden Daniels probably 6 or 7 for me. Yeah. I do agree. Hurts doesn't put up the numbers, but he gets there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He does the damn thing. So
fair.
I like it. I think that's probably the most common top 5 that we will see.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna come out and erase all of it and start at 5 and work my way up to 1. Got the marker. Thank you. Number 5, Joe Burrow. Number 5, Joe Burrow. Number 4, again, I'll talk about them all when we're done. Number 4,
Jaden Daniels.
Baker Mayfield.
Baker.
Number 3.
Wow.
We'll see you guys in the next recording.
Number 3, Josh Allen.
I'm getting the hell out of here.
Just wait, we'll talk about it. Give me a minute here. Number 2, Patrick Mahomes.
I love this list.
Number 1, obviously, the soon-to-be back-to-back MVP, Lamar Jackson. Colin, you're the biggest Baker fan I know.
I am, but he's not Joe Burrow.
No, he's been better than Joe Burrow.
Oh my
the last 2 seasons, Baker Mayfield, 8,544 yards. Who has better weapons, Baker Mayfield or Joe Burrow?
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow, thank you. 69 touchdowns for Baker Mayfield. Nice. Burrow.
Nice.
Burrow, 58 touchdowns. 11 less touchdowns for Burrow. Only 7,227 yards the last 2 seasons. And we're going to say, well, yeah, he was hurt. 40% of his seasons he's been hurt. He has missed significant time. 40% of his NFL career. 2 of 5 seasons, he has missed at least 6 games. That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem, man. We got to stay on the field. Team records, he's won more games than Joe Burrow. 19-15 with 2 division titles. Last 2 years, Joe Burrow, 18-16, 0 division titles. That's an issue, man. That's an issue.
Okay.
I think you also look at the division they play in, though.
Yes, very
Right.
true. Joe Burrow, 3rd in his division and 4th in his division the last 2 years, which is not great. But yes, the division is tough, although I don't think any of us are big Steelers guys or Browns guys.
Yeah.
They're not great.
I mean, Steelers were 10-win playoff team.
Yeah, but they were frauds.
Yeah.
They were
Better,
frauds.
better than Panthers and Saints.
They are much better than the Panthers and
Yeah.
Saints. I totally agree.
I'd even say Falcons, too.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that we have this preconceived notion that Baker Mayfield's a bust because it didn't work in Cleveland, and then he got shipped to Carolina. He finally somewhere where he's had a good offensive play caller for the last 2 years in Liam Cohen and the Bucs organization and some stability, and he's put up fantastic numbers. I mean, 2nd, 3rd in the last 2 years in total yards to go along with 69 touchdowns in 2 seasons. I had never thought he could average 35 touchdowns a
Okay,
year.
then are we saying that Baker Mayfield has gotten better, or are we saying he got in a better situation with better coaching, and that's why he's better?
I'm
know?
saying that, absolutely.
Because-
Well, but who can succeed in Cleveland? We've seen it happen time and time again.
I mean, Lamar's succeeding with John Harbaugh. So
Okay, yes, he's one of the most successful franchises in history. He's somehow succeeding there. I don't know how he does it.
I don't know how John Harbaugh's there. I
It's
don't
a
know.
miracle.
God.
The
He's
disrespect
about to
John
get it.
Harbaugh
I will
gets
say,
is
though,
crazy.
Burrow went to a career quarterback killer as well.
Yeah,
and
true.
It's turned them, obviously, with the injuries to a 5,
did.
but a Super Bowl appearance for Cincinnati.
Yes.
I'll say this for Burrow last year. I mean,
Oh, he's been great.
almost 5K last year,
Yep.
49
Yep.
for
Great
43
numbers.
touchdowns to 9 picks. That's my only
Yes,
pushback
great
on Burrow.
numbers.
Because we're going back a 2nd year on those, and it's like, hey, we're looking at this last season and now this upcoming one. In my mind, and I'll give you this. Baker, you made a good argument, because I've got a longer list. He's not even on my list, and maybe that's probably bad on my part.
We
because
gotta give him
Baker's
some respect.
definitely played
Great.
well. And I'll give you this, though. The weapons are definitely better in Cincinnati, but the Bucs don't have no shabby weapons. I mean, they're
they're
coming
good
off
weapons.
a great
Absolutely.
Super Bowl
Absolutely.
constructed team.
Yes.
And Baker just slid right on in.
I mean, we'll find out pretty
he's
soon.
taken
about
and
Joe
gone
Burrow.
sprinting though.
Yeah, he has. He's taken off when he was put in a good situation. I think
Yeah.
that we have to evaluate quarterbacks based on their situation as well.
Yeah.
And like Baker wasn't bad in Cleveland, but he wasn't great in
Yeah.
Cleveland. And then all of a sudden he goes to Tampa Bay, where they don't have an offensive head coach. It's Todd
Yeah.
Bowles,
Yeah.
and he's making it work with different offensive coordinators the last 2 seasons. He had
Canales.
and then Liam Cohen. Both are gone, so we'll see can he do it a 3rd year with a new offensive coordinator stepping up. I've been very impressed with Baker Mayfield. I was really down on him, especially when you look at who was drafted after him and Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, what a terrible first pick. Maybe he just was never really given a shot in Cleveland.
I
Now
agree
he's
with
got
that.
a great shot, and he's put up great numbers, and it's hard to ignore it.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow's been awesome, but he played the entire year this year, and that team went 9-8. Now the defense sucked. Let's just get that out there. But 9-8 this year, 9-8 the year before, 4th place in the division, 3rd place in the division. I've got questions, and he's getting paid way more money than Baker Mayfield is too.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Baker there at 4, and then I've got Allen at 3. Numbers have been fantastic. Turnovers have been real killers for him, though. He's the highest one on the turnover list. But the fact that he has 84 touchdowns in 2 seasons is unbelievable.
Yeah, that's wild.
42 touchdowns a year on average and 9,000 total yards, or 4,500 total yards each year. And the team has been great, 24-10. The last 2 years, 2 division championships. But he just cannot get past Mahomes at all.
Yeah.
Cannot get past Patrick Mahomes. Now, to be fair, neither can Lamar Jackson. But Lamar Jackson also has 9,600 yards and 74 touchdowns in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do want to throw something out there about Lamar. He's played 7 years, right?
Yep.
He, first year, came in week 12, 13, something like that, for an injured Joe Flacco
Yep.
with a hip problem. Came in there, won enough games to get the playoffs, right?
Yep.
Didn't have a full season. And then his 2nd year, wins MVP.
Yep.
His 3rd year, gets hurt, was leading for MVP.
Yep.
His 4th year, also gets hurt, had an MVP case.
Yeah.
5th year, wins MVP.
Wins MVP.
6th year,
No. Fifth
No,
year didn't win it.
fifth year didn't win it.
6th year
Wins
won it.
it.
7th
Seventh
year
year might win it.
probably gonna win it and have his 3rd MVP.
he has had like 5 healthy full seasons.
Yep.
3 of them he's probably gonna get MVP.
Yep. And it's
Crazy.
not. I don't think I'm disrespecting Patrick Mahomes with this. I'd like to think I'm not. but the last 2 years he's got 1,400 less total yards than Lamar Jackson does. Yeah. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Lamar Jackson has way better weapons than him or a better play caller than him, because he doesn't. No, there's no play caller better than Andy Reid, and the weapons in Kansas City and Baltimore I think are pretty comparable. Mahomes has 21 less touchdowns, and he has 8 more turnovers than him. It's like, that's pretty clear to me that Lamar Jackson has been better. Now, when we talk playoffs and Super Bowls, obviously, that goes to Mahomes. But if I'm just talking on talent of the quarterback and how they've played these last 2 seasons, if Lamar Jackson's going to win both of these MVPs, how do I not have him at 1?
Yeah.
I can't do it. I cannot have him at 1. And then I have Mahomes over Allen just strictly because of the success that Mahomes has had against him when it matters the most.
Yeah.
So that's why I do that.
4 times in the playoffs.
Yeah, 4-0. It's the only time in NFL history that one quarterback has beat another 4 times in the playoffs. I mean, if you're the Bills, that is a nightmare for you.
Yeah.
You've had multiple years where Josh Allen has been MVP candidate Josh Allen, and he just loses to Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. And I think he only had like 100-something passing yards against the Ravens to win that game. It's not like he really did a whole lot in that game to win it for him. So, yeah, I'm going Lamar, Mahomes, Allen, Bake Show, Burr.
Bake Show.
Bake Show. And I stand by that. I was looking at Baker's stats. I'm like, damn, that's a pretty good 2-year stretch for me, man. And 2 division titles, I'll take the winning.
Man,
there's my
it's
top 5.
ugly, but I get it.
You get it, right? It makes
ugly.
sense. When you hear the numbers, you're like, okay, all right, that's fair. Because you wouldn't think Baker Mayfield, like, if I blind revealed all of these numbers, none of us would say Baker Mayfield. If I blindly revealed all of these yards, touchdowns, interceptions, nobody would say Baker Mayfield. I'm pretty confident.
Yeah.
We'd be like, oh, that's got to be, one of, like a Herbert. It's probably Herbert up there. Or one of these other quarterbacks that's been around doing it for a while, not Baker Mayfield.
Just like Stafford or something.
Yeah, Stafford would be up there, right? Someone I didn't even really consider for my list, which is kind of shocking. But so yeah, those are my top 5.
Okay.
He's getting up there in age.
He's getting up there.
Yeah,
Addison, top 5 quarterbacks.
Might be
quarterback
listing 12 in
You list them all. You list them all.
All right.
Let's see.
12.
All 12?
All 12 in a bad
Can't.
Number 1 is obviously Mahomes.
Yeah, we know.
We'll talk about the list.
Yep.
Burrow at 2.
Oh, it beat me to it.
Oh yeah.
Allen at 3.
Damn. Show me Herbert at 4.
All those MVPs for what?
For what?
Jalen at 5.
Hey.
It's adding numbers.
Yeah, you can keep going, JD5.
JD5?
Yeah, Jaden Daniels I think is a pretty consensus 5-6 guy.
Yeah. Herbert at 7. He should be like 12.
Yeah, he's gonna list all 12 of them.
Stroud should also be at 12.
Gotta get to my boy, right?
Gotta get to
Love
your
should also be at 12. Nick's at 12.
Nick's at 10.
Oh yeah. Made the playoffs.
Caleb at 11.
Caleb.
And Drake May.
Oh my God!
No. Quarterbacks for the upcoming seasons? Hell yeah.
Oh
The
my
next
God.
season? Yeah.
Alright.
Drake May at 12 is
Missing
wild.
7 names there.
I don't know if
This
it's
is
wild.
This is Pro Bowl voting right here.
He played pretty damn well on a bad Patriots team, and I'll take a lot of these young
He had what,
guys
2,300 yards.
not playing
Hang
like
on,
half the
hang on.
season,
I'm
and
pulling
with
up.
the worst team in football,
Can't do this.
with one of the worst teams in football.
That's crazy.
But we'll
He's
go
only
in.
gonna get better with Josh McDaniels as his OC.
I mean, hey, he played better than anyone I think expected him to in the situation at the rookie season.
Situation
But-
was bad. Now we want to talk about Sage having premature release of information. This feels premature for a handful up here, just from the stats. Okay, so Drake May, have you guys seen the memes of it's got Rick Ross and then it's got a larger lady next to him, and the lady is without a shirt, Rick Ross without a shirt.
Yeah.
And it says to the lady, empowering,
Yeah.
beautiful, and then Rick Ross, it says put a shirt on, bruh. Drake May's season was not that good. 2,200 yards. He played 13 games. So he played most of the season. 2,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, 10 picks.
You know what I mean? Half the season.
He played 13 games.
I mean,
He played 13 games. And the
on
situation
the worst
was
team
terrible.
in
The situation
football,
was
and
terrible.
you said yourself he looked damn exciting. And this is next year's quarterback. You're telling me you don't think rookies are going to take steps?
Is he?
We don't think quarterbacks are going to develop. The Patriots have the most cap space. They have over $120
They
million
should have a
in
better
football.
situation.
And they're gonna spend
And-
half of it on 2 tight ends.
I mean,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
because Bill Belichick is still there.
Right.
He's the one that did that as GM, right?
Yeah.
Oh wait, it's not him.
No, if we're able to just trade away AJ.
I don't know. If you guys want to be out on the rookie
they're gonna get a running back or
quarterbacks, you want to be out on
something,
Bo
build around
Nix,
that.
who made the playoffs,
No,
and you
what-
said was comparable to Josh
He
Allen.
was.
That's what. Then how is he not higher, Josh Allen? You know,
How do you don't have Stafford on here at all?
he's old for next season. These are next season
But he's
quarterbacks.
still
He
going
is
to have
old.
Puka and maybe not Cooper Cup, but he's still going to have
They're
Puka
not
and
having
Tua
Cooper
there.
Cup. The team has moved
They're
on.
going to trade him.
Cooper Kupp.
Right, they still have to trade him, find a partner and trade him. But yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I will take all the young guns over these old guys this next season. Well, Aaron Rodgers had 3,300 yards, 25 touchdowns, 10 picks. That's a good year, right? Is he anywhere on anyone's this deep?
If you need to win a game week 1, because these are week 1 next
Right,
year, right?
right.
If you need to win a game, first game of the
For
season,
this-
week 1, you would take Drake May over Stafford and Rodgers.
For my team, for the next season, because
For
that's what
next
these
year,
rankings
just for
were,
next year.
yes, I would take all of the young guns over these older guys. Yes. Yes, I would. Stafford is
Take
getting
them.
a year older.
You
After
took him
we
over Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, well, you're high on Trevor Lawrence. You're
I'm not
Mr.
high on
Bust
Trevor
on
Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
I'm not high on Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I would say all of these quarterbacks, obviously the top 8, top 9 are, I think, deserving.
Agreed.
Guaranteed.
Anyone
I think
here-
when we get to
Bo
the
Nix made
I
the
think
playoffs
top 9 are solid.
As a rookie.
Yeah.
Made the playoffs as a rookie, had over 4,000 total purpose yards from the quarterback
He looked
position.
great this past
So
year.
how is he not in the
Yeah,
conversation?
I think 10.
Caleb, again,
You
in a
lose me
terrible
11 and 12.
situation, 20 touchdowns, 6 INTs.
Mm-hmm.
He had half the turnovers that Stroud had, and people would have Stroud top 10 on every single quarterback's list, same amount of touchdowns. And Drake May, in a terrible situation, played way better and elevated the Patriots. They were at least a team that you didn't want hanging around. Obviously, they were not good, but Drake May made them at least decent enough on offense and entertaining.
So next year, you think Drake May outperforms Brock Purdy? Because Brock Purdy, if we're going on next year and what he's got, Brock Purdy's in a way better situation than both probably
Wait,
Drake
you're
May
sure
and
he's in a
Caleb.
better situation? Because
Yes.
he's not signed.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's not a free agent yet, though.
Okay.
He's still on the roster for next year. So I'm assuming he's playing for them next year. If they extend him, that's up to them. But he's on the roster for next year.
Okay, Purdy is probably a guy I don't have on the list that could slide in here,
And
but
I would
still, I
say-
would have most of these guys near where they're at. You're not
Jared
even-
Goff?
Yeah,
And
Goff.
Darnold, Goff maybe,
not on
but
here?
Darnold's
Baker's
not on.
on here?
That's where I said, talked about Nate's, but we're talking maybe 13, 14, 15. I will put the rookies over most of these guys. Yes, I will.
So I get it if we're talking multiple seasons into
For the
future.
next year, these are guys
But
potentially
next
taking
season,
steps.
Potentially, maybe.
Yeah,
But if I'm like doing my team,
Baker
every year-
had 16 picks last year, and most of them were bad.
Yeah, but he had so many good numbers too. He had like 30-something touchdowns. None of those guys had 30 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean,
None of those dudes put up the numbers Baker did last year.
Bo Nix did.
But Baker had better numbers.
Closely comparable
Yes, agreed.
with
So
way
I'm-
worse weapons.
I'm
in
really
Denver.
mainly
Way
arguing
worse
at 11
weapons.
and 12.
But we're
I
talking
think
about
both of
potential
them-
right now. It's
I
potential
think both Caleb and Drake May take big steps. Shocker, the number 1 and number 2 pick takes big steps. I do think that, yeah. I do think both of them take big steps. These are quarterbacks of the future. You guys are gonna have them like 18 or lower, 20s?
No,
I
I
get
think-
the situations were bad, but
Right. And the situation may still be bad next year. We don't know. Like I hope for your sake Ben
I
Johnson
think
comes in and is
the
awesome.
We don't
Patriots
know
have
if T. Higgins is gonna go to the
124 million.
Patriots,
Right.
You know? Like, we don't know.
$124
They've got a
million
ton of money.
of cap space. They're gonna spend it on something.
Have to want to sign there.
They're gonna spend, even if it's not Higgins, they're gonna have to spend it on something. They have had what, 0 NFL receivers we think that are
Yes.
actual starter caliber. You got to at least assume they get 1 or 2 at least starting player level people with that much money, and I think that would help Drake May. Yeah, and I'm gonna have him here. You want to talk about getting on the ship early? I'm getting on the damn ship early.
Very early.
I am.
There's not a single quarterback here 30 years old in
No.
the top 12.
All young. I respect that.
I
It's
get
just
it.
going into next year, I would like more of proven commodities for 1 year. If we're talking building a franchise, I have no problems. No problems if I'm starting my franchise like this and going forward. But next year, and I'm willing to assume health because like people get hurt all the time.
Yeah,
It
you said
happens.
assuming healthy.
Assuming health, there's no way I have Caleb or Drake over Dak. And probably not over Tua if I'm assuming health, just because of the numbers that they both put up. I
Yeah.
think, and same with Stafford. Stafford's looked really good in the last couple of years for the
I
Ravens.
take
He's
Dak,
been really
Stafford,
solid.
Goff, Purdy.
I'm glad your guys' list looked like that. This is mine, and I'm taking the young guns.
Sure, that's fair.
But but like just like we said with Stroud recently, like he took a huge step backwards. Like a lot of it is coaching. Do I trust Mike Vrabel, who's a defensive coach,
to get the
to go
very
in
most
there
out of Drake
and
May in
get the
1 year.
most out of May? Ben Johnson is
tough.
unproven
Yes.
as a head coach. You know, like
Oh, I mean, as well. This is my list.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm surprised Goff isn't on there too.
Yeah.
Not having Goff is surprising for next year.
Gigantic choke. This is what we thought Goff was going to be, and I think that could impact them. They've lost all their coordinators, half their staff in Detroit. You didn't have them making the playoffs this season. You don't think that I could potentially have that as my thought process? The Lions have reached the plateau 2 years in a row and have fumbled the bag gigantically. Their coach said this is our only chance potentially 1 year ago, and then they got there, and then were the number 1 seed and choked terribly in the playoffs.
We're talking about choking. I mean, Herbert at 7 right here.
I'm taking Herbert. I love Herbert. Yeah, he had a bad game and 4 picks. I think 2 of them were completely on receivers. 2 went through hands. 2 were bad. 2 went through hands. I'll take the guy that threw 3 picks in the regular season all year last year and was dominant. And the Chargers again.
Because they ran the ball 70% of the time.
So Hurts isn't on a lot of people's list. They passed the ball 32nd most in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's going to be top 10 on almost every single. He'd be top 10 on every single person's list. He would be.
Probably.
He would be.
I'd definitely have Goff over him based on numbers because they're going to lose Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore's gone. And Philly, he's going to go be the Saints head coach, almost confirmed.
They run the ball the most. That's
right,
okay.
but then that's why I wouldn't have Jalen Hurts on the top
Hurts
10.
still makes the plays, and they're not even crazy design plays. They run a simple, easy offense that's off-structured plays with Hurts. It's okay if they lose.
I would argue Hurts is a game manager, though. He's got 2 elite wide receivers on his team, and they don't use it to the best of their ability because they don't trust Hurts to do it. That's why they had to get Saquon.
The number 1 ranked
They
defense.
made the Super Bowl with Hurts.
With the
without
best
Saquon.
roster. With the best roster in football.
Without Saquon, though.
Yeah, but...
DeAndre Swift wasn't this.
No.
Hurts was a top 5 quarterback, and he still probably is.
Heralded as a top 5. I would.
2 Super Bowls in 3 years, and we're saying he ain't a top 5 quarterback is hilarious. But you talk about Purdy. In his super generated
top
team.
12.
I know,
but
his super team around him.
Yeah, and he deserves to be top 12 with the numbers. Like, he's in San Francisco next year.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, I admit it. That's a guy I probably should have had guaranteed on the list. Baker, I'd say 13, 14, 15 are guys. Goff, I'd have there.
4,600 yards and 37 touchdowns. And that team's coming back next year. Same offensive line, same weapons, another year of Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yep.
Like, better weapons than almost any other person on this list. Goff, he's gonna put up the same numbers next year.
Okay, I mean he pumped hard in the biggest moment. He's gonna have to live with that all.
So if we're only talking about playoffs and playoff
impact
success.
I'm saying that's impacting him next season. That's what I'm saying. I think Goff's gonna have a struggle because of the mental collapse that they had. I think that's gonna stick with him.
They choked pretty hard the year before too against San Francisco. They had like a 17-point lead.
This was the number 1 seed. The biggest thing that the playoffs are running through Detroit, and they choked. I think that's going to have an impact, as well as the staff getting ripped apart there. I get the teams there. It's a lot. It's a lot.
The last 3 years.
We're talking about playoffs, though. There's 2 other quarterbacks on here who made the playoffs and choked outright. Love and Nix. Nix scored 1 touchdown first drive.
Okay, well, if we want to talk about it, Lamar has no playoff success. Allen has no playoff success. Burrow's the only one to get to a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Should we even have Allen and Lamar this high? They have no playoff success. Obviously, we should. They're the best quarterbacks.
And none of these guys on the list have playoff success.
Exactly.
It's
so what?
Yeah,
exactly.
So we can't take playoff success or choking into it.
I think I'm saying the choke. That's not why I don't have Goff there. Because I think it's going to impact next season, not because they choked the previous season. That's not why he's there. I think that will impact him, is what I'm saying.
I just look at Goff's numbers last 3 seasons, and he's so consistent. 4,500, 4,500, 4,600. 30 touchdowns, 30 touchdowns, 37 touchdowns. That puts him top 6 or 7, I would think.
Yeah, but it's not on my list.
I think assuming him to drop off so far is tough. Assuming him to fall all the way behind Drake May, who had an okay season. Absolutely. He played some exciting football, but he also had 10 turnovers in 13 games. And he only had 15 touchdowns. Goff he had 12 turnovers, but he had 37 touchdowns. It's like, assuming Drake May to take that big of a step is bold.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just talking points. We're just talking players. There's nothing wrong with assuming that big of a step. And again, if we're talking multiple years into the future, absolutely. But we've seen a lot of guys come out and have a really good rookie year, and then the second year isn't as good. Or they have a really good second year, and the third year isn't as good. We've just seen that so often that it's like, okay, maybe next year, Goff and Purdy and Dak and Tua, who have been more consistent statistically, stay consistent statistically, and these guys will maybe take that jump. So I can understand that argument of it, absolutely. Like, maybe Caleb comes out and balls out like we thought he would this year. Like, he had the weapons coming into this year. They were saying this is the best situation ever for a number 1 overall pick. The play calling was dog shit. The offensive line was dog shit.
Yep.
So we're hoping the Bears' offensive line improves with picks and free agency. Absolutely. But if their offensive line improves, the Patriots' offensive line will then struggle to improve because the Bears are taking the players. The Patriots have 1 starting lineman, Michael Onwenu.
I'm not saying they all have to get the best players. They're going to get better players, simply
They
put.
should.
They will. They have the money. They have to spend it. They literally have to. They can't just sit on it. And I get, and maybe they go outside.
They sat on it last offseason.
There's a floor that they have to reach in it. They
Right,
have to
there's
spend
a
like
cap
$80
floor.
million to get to the floor.
Yes.
So they will be signing at least minimum 4 to 5 players.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm assuming it'll be more than that.
It's just a big jump for those guys. So you're boldly predicting a big jump, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean,
there's nothing
a
wrong
lot
with
of it
that.
is really risky because a third of these guys on here are going to have new play callers next year.
Yes.
Right? So that could be either a really good thing or a really bad
Right.
thing.
It could be tough for Jalen Hurts because, like, we saw the Eagles last year with a new coordinator sucked. But the year before, he had great coordinators. It was awesome. This year, good coordinators. Awesome.
Goff lost his coordinator. So it's like there's an argument there. Purdy, again, we'll see. But...
Yeah, I think Purdy would have to make my top 12 just because of the situation.
Yeah, Dak will obviously put up numbers, but I'm taking these quarterbacks over all of them for next season.
I don't know. It seems like a cop out to get ahead of the curve.
I respect it. 4 rookies. Yeah, coming from Sage.
Mr. Premature.
Mr. Premature information.
I get it from my kicker.
I get it from my kicker.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
All right, Colin. Top QBs.
Top QBs.
You could put top 30 up there.
Yeah, top 30. Let's go top 30. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Shiesty.
Oh, God.
Joe Burr. Mm-hmm. Lemur.
This isn't a spelling bee.
I won't have to grade spelling bee, just so y'all know.
Lemur. No, he's just taking him off. He's had enough. Dak.
There we go.
MV3, yeah.
Now the 5th one's tough because
Yes.
you guys have made great, compelling arguments for everybody.
There's a lot of good. Like you said, the 5th through like 10th spot can be really well
It really
argued.
could be, yeah.
And this is where I struggle.
Because I don't hate Jalen Hurts at 5. Honestly.
Don't hate Hurts, don't hate Daniels. Nate, you gave a great argument for Baker. Addison, you gave a good argument for the guy I am going to put at 5, and just a year older, losing
Drake
a
May.
receiver.
You're older, losing a receiver. Stafford, yeah.
I'm going to put Matt Stafford at my number 5.
I respect that. It's
That
hard
might
not
be a
to
hot take because he is a little bit older, but since he's been in the league, you can't argue what this guy's been able to do when healthy. Dealt a terrible hand in Detroit, injuries early in his career, but as long as he has Sean McVay calling plays and Puka Nacua, who's just blossoming year after year into a better player.
And he does still have McVay. And
Still
that's
has
huge.
McVay. So I think losing Cup's going to hurt a little bit. That's that comfort kind of underneath receiver when you need a big throw to convert a short yardage 3rd down. Who's better than Cooper Kupp in the league? Not many. Josh Allen at 4, you're going to get a lot of hate for that because, yes, he's right up there MVP year after year. But I just think the guys ahead of him are just a little bit better. Joe Burrow at 2 is probably going to be the hot take here on top of Stafford at 5. Just because how do you have Lamar and Josh Allen behind Joe Burrow?
That's what I want to know.
Well, he doesn't. Joe Burrow doesn't have a James Cook. He doesn't have a Derrick Henry. Yes, he does have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but he doesn't have a run game to help him out at all. He doesn't have a defense to help him out at all.
But that could inflate his stats.
Could inflate his stats, but when you look at the game, if Joe Burrow's not perfect and he's not putting up
lose.
35,
They lose.
they still sometimes lose.
Yeah, they lose or more than any other team in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a
I'm pretty sure
stretch.
it's a record.
They lost a game where they didn't punt this
Yeah,
season.
There was a stretch where he had over 300 yards and 3 passing touchdowns in like 3 straight games, and he lost all 3 games.
Yeah.
And you can't point the
They
finger at
did.
Joe Burrow.
Gave
those
up
games.
35, gave up 34, and gave up 44 in those 3 games. And
It's
lost.
like this guy's doing everything, putting the team
He
on his
is.
back, and yes, he's getting paid to do so, and he was the
Yes.
number 1 pick. So that's what you expect out of a number 1 pick.
Yep.
But whenever you talk about pure passing, and I think I spelled Shicey wrong too now that I look at it.
I think you're good, actually.
It's either IE or EI.
Yeah.
It's EI.
I before E except after C.
After C.
IE.
Yeah, that's what hates people spell my
I
name
don't
wrong.
think
C,
so.
that's right.
I think you're right.
But if you talk about like best pure passer in the NFL, I'm giving Joe Burrow that title every day of the year. Yes, he doesn't have the rushing upside as Lamar and Josh,
Yeah.
but not many quarterbacks do.
Yeah.
So that's my list there. Patrick Mahomes is number 1 until he retires, probably.
Yeah.
Or someone else
I get
knocks
it.
him off.
Yeah.
How do you pick anybody over Patrick Mahomes? I get why you did Nate with Lamar.
Actually, I get it.
Because you look at the talent, yes, as I talked about Joe Burrow, Mahomes does have some rushing, but he doesn't use it as much as
only in the
guys.
playoffs when it matters.
And so whenever
then
you
he's
have
like, I'm
to,
gonna get 20.
whenever you have to prepare against a guy like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, obviously you have to factor in the rushing upside to that. You have to contain or spy them constantly, whereas you don't have to spy these guys as much. But money's on the line, 2-minute drill. This is my order of
I respect
who
that.
I want in a 2-minute
Shit,
drill.
I may move Stafford up in that case, honestly. He's so cerebral.
Yeah,
Although I will say
the
against
2-minute
Philly, he
drill?
just choked and,
Yeah.
and threw it at 5 yards out of bounds.
Yeah,
We're talking about
taking
2-minute
that.
drill. I really love Lamar over Jalen. Because, hey, Lamar had 2 minutes to
Yeah.
score a touchdown and did
2-minute
it.
drill.
Josh
This
Allen,
is
you
division.
had one.
Yeah.
Ain't shit happened.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and I'll say this for Mahomes. Well, I'll talk about it a little bit when we do the Super Bowl as well. The numbers aren't there because they don't call
don't
an
need it to
offense
be,
for
yes.
that.
Agreed.
Because
Yeah.
teams
They
have
just play
taken
to
it
win.
away.
They just play to
Mahomes
win.
was throwing 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards, and then teams said, "You're not doing that," and then he adapted and said, "Okay, I will dink and dunk my way down every single drive,
He's Tom Brady.
and I will just pick you apart." And he's accepted less stats. So I get the stats for Mahomes, but it's because that's what the team has just accepted as their offense is less big plays
And just winning games.
more methodical shit.
Yeah, I mean, they went 15-2.
Yeah.
And he was
Yeah.
like middle of the pack in yards and touchdowns.
Yeah,
He didn't
15
do-
and 1 with starters.
Yeah, 15-1,
Well,
right.
it's about time for them to get like a premier wide receiver
Yes,
too.
it
It's
is.
going to happen again.
Yeah.
We're going to go through the cycle. Tom Brady had it in 07 with
Yep.
Moss. You
All of
know,
a sudden,
where
just
he's going to
unstoppable.
either going to draft someone that's going to come out and be a star, or somehow fucking Puka Nakua is going to go to the Chiefs.
Oh,
Okay.
And
gross, man.
it's going to be disgusting. You know, like
I might be hopping off the Chiefs train after the Super Bowl. That's all. I mean, we'll see.
Oh boy, I've made that mistake before, my friend.
I know, but
It's so hard to get off that train because it just keeps rolling.
I
mean,
know. We'll see.
and going into next year, how do you take anybody other than the team that had the best record in the league? Probably going to win their 3rd straight Super Bowl this upcoming
Yeah.
Sunday.
we'll see.
Best
It's
coach,
best
best offensive
coach,
play caller,
yeah.
best defensive play caller.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah.
Andy
he's
Reid's
pretty
not going to be there for Mahomes' whole career though.
Dude, he might be. He might be.
There's no shot.
He might be.
First of
I mean,
all,
Pete Carroll's 73 and he just took a new job.
okay, but let's look at Pete Carroll and Andy Reid. I'm sorry,
Well,
but
yes, but I'm talking like age. Like you can coach for a long time.
Yeah.
oh, you can
coach
if
till
we get
you're-
him a wheelchair.
Yeah,
But-
hey, if
Like-
he just maybe cuts back on the cheeseburgers.
I think those are what's keeping him going.
The
honestly.
cheeseburgers.
He's
He's
putting
only
protein in
66.
him.
Yeah.
So he's 66 right now. If we say he could,
I
he
just don't
looks
know
young.
how a coach looks at that, looks at what he's got, and walks away.
Yeah, with what he's done, like
Okay,
his
but
mind is
5
still
more years,
so
he'll be
sharp.
71.
Yeah,
And
I
still
bet you.
2
And
years younger than Pete Carroll is
still-
right now.
yeah. If I'm Andy
Pete
Reid,
Carroll's a different breed.
if I'm Andy Reid, I don't walk away until I have every record that I want.
I mean, I'm
Why
assuming
would
Reed's
you?
a different breed. The guy's
Yeah, he's
probably
been
been coaching
insane.
since he was like 20-something years old. So
Yes.
I'll give him 40 years of experience, and now he's got the GOAT.
Hey, yo, he's 6'3". We need to get him in pads. We
I-
need to get Andy Reid in linebacker
He used to
role.
play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Get him at fullback.
yeah. I like the Stafford.
Put him in for the Super Bowl.
I like the Stafford at 5. I like the respect there. He put up decent numbers this year. He was 3,700 yards, 20 touchdowns, 8 picks. It's just hard because if they lose Cooper Kupp, now it's all going to be like we were already Puka Nakua dependent.
You could argue that was this season anyway.
Yeah, they were out.
Yeah.
Because Cooper was hurt for majority of it. Came
He was
back,
a
then
lot.
was a non-factor
Wasn't
for a
insane.
lot. Yeah.
Getting a young gun in there. I mean, they drafted a whole bunch of people.
Yeah,
to
that
take
they're
that.
their
drafting
sixth
so
round
well.
pick from Texas. He's a whitey. They
Who
may
was
have hit
it,
another.
Whittington?
Yeah,
Yeah,
from Texas. They
Whittington.
may have hit another home run with him. So
They
I don't
draft
know.
so well.
I don't know if
They do.
it's bad.
They
but-
draft so well and get rid of all their picks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, this is only
They
their
win either
second
way.
Yeah.
second first round pick this year since 2016.
I mean, I could see them if they got Darius Slayton right there.
yeah, he might not be bad for them.
Good, you know?
I'm just gonna look up their.
Yeah, and I know we're supposed to do the list like going into next season, week 1,
Mhm.
but I did a little bit. I factored that in there, but my thing was who do I trust when the game's on the line with the ball in their hands, and that's
Yeah.
kind of how I ranked it.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, like, if Stafford wins that game against the Eagles,
Mhm.
he's probably in the
He might
Super
be in
Bowl
the
right
Super
now.
Bowl.
Yeah, probably playing for the Super Bowl.
He's probably. I mean,
Maybe.
I think it's
Washington.
obviously a
Close.
closer game with Washington,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think that's more of a 50-50 than it was.
Yeah,
Obviously,
for
they
sure,
lost
for
by
sure.
30.
Agreed.
But God, like they were basically 10 yards away from getting to another Super Bowl.
And Jake Elliott would be out of a job.
Yes,
It
I will
was.
say surprisingly, Cooper Kupp played more than Puka this year. Kupp played 12 games. Nakua only played 11.
Damn.
I actually don't.
So I
think
think it was the
that.
beginning of the season. Cooper was
yeah,
out,
and then Puka got hurt
was
midway
out.
through the season. And
Well, then even when
Kupp was
Puka went
there.
down, Cooper still was a non-factor. 'cause
Yeah,
he didn't
I
go
mean,
crazy.
He had
One game.
700 yards and 6 touchdowns. Like he's not
Made
the same
Saquon
Touchdowns,
Barkley.
but
decent touchdowns.
Maybe
Made more money than Saquon Barkley, and he is 31 years old
Gave
too.
Davis $54,000.
yeah, it's just was time. It's just
Yeah, it's time probably for Cooper to move on, but I don't hate that at all. That's that's a safer pick, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know about Burrow, but like you said, 2 through 4 you can really argue. Burrow has the stats, and he's the pocket passer of all of them. Lamar and Josh are the freak show athletes that just continue to do so much with little support, honestly.
I do
When you look around the
feel bad
roster.
for Josh Allen at some point.
Oh, I don't.
Because this guy literally has no
Please.
accolades.
Yeah, I hope they
He
continue.
is-
Yeah, he has nothing. His trophy case is barren.
He's
Yeah.
Pro Bowls, but
Yeah.
no All Pros,
Nope.
no MVPs, no Super Bowls,
No conference championships.
no.
Couple division titles. Good job. The division
Congrats,
sucks.
it's a shit division.
The division sucks.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
but his personal life, he's winning.
Yeah, true. He's
He did get Haley Steinfeld.
and he's making
And
50
he's
something.
balling,
Yeah, and
you
he's
know.
playing great football. Absolutely. So I don't have any real complaints here with the top 5. I do think we're sleeping on Brock Purdy a little bit. I'm not a Brock Purdy defender. I refuse to be considered a Brock Purdy defender. But
Nate told us off camera.
without
loves Brock
Ayuk
Purdy.
all year long, without Debo Samuel playing like Debo Samuel, yeah, the team sucked.
Yeah.
They went 6-11. To be fair, not very
A
good.
lot of injuries.
A lot of injuries. I mean, Purdy played 15 of the games, and he had averaged 257 yards a game, 20 touchdowns, 12 picks. But his last season was really damn good when he had more of a healthy squad. In 2023, 4,300 yards, 31 touchdowns, 11 picks. That's damn good.
How
He's
many
young.
drops did we see from IU?
Oh my God,
and
so
Debo?
many.
And honestly, their 2 best receivers right now are probably Jawan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, and he's only 25 years old. So I think Brock Purdy deserves to be loved, but then you start thinking like, okay, if I take him out of San Francisco and plop him down somewhere else, does he succeed? Probably not.
Probably not.
But is he going to be in San Francisco next year? Yes. And that's where. And then Christian McCaffrey should come back healthy, hopefully. Hopefully he's back.
Jordan Mason, he was holding
He's a
his
free
own
agent. He's a free agent.
For how much money?
Yeah, well, he might work himself to a decent money.
Jerry still won't sign him.
Jerry might sign him.
Jerry Knight.
I
Okay.
kind of lump Purdy in the Hurts category, and it's unfair, yes, because situation obviously makes everybody, as we talked about,
Yeah.
Baker,
Mhm.
and Purdy doesn't have the rushing upside as Jalen. But you just look at when they're healthy, the team
Yes.
around him. You got 2 dynamic receivers. Yes,
Yep.
Sanford has a better coach and play caller, in my opinion. But their defense is really what carries both of those teams. And their offense is just told, go out there, make a few throws,
Mhm.
don't turn it over.
Yeah, don't turn the ball
And we're
over.
just going to win the game based off scoring 20-24.
Yeah, and that worked pretty well for them most of the time. I will
As long as
say,
they're healthy.
yeah, Niners
Yeah.
sneaky destination for Myles Garrett.